Shares of U.S. rare earth miners jumped yesterday and have been on the move for the past month. The sector getting an initial boost after President Trump threatened tariffs on China, and J.P. Morgan Chase yesterday released a $1.5 trillion plan, including up to $10 billion for critical mineral investments. Yesterday on Squawk Box, Wharton's Jeremy Siegel told us that, in his words, it is scandalous that the United States doesn't have a rare earths reserve. Joining us right now is Ben Emons. He is FedWatch Advisors founder and CIO. And Ben, right about the time Jeremy was saying that, I was reading through a note that you put out yesterday that really shed a lot of light on how we got to this position and some of the roadblocks that would need to be removed before we can fix it. And I was hoping you could kind of walk us through that. Thank you for being here this morning.
Absolutely, Becky. Thank you for having me, and good morning. Well, we had rare earth mining in 2002 in the mountain passes. Let's say the only mine really active at that time. And China was already producing a fair bit of rare earths. It was dumping it out there on the global market. So the price of rare earth mining went down significantly, put that mine out of business. And so we stopped doing this rare earth mining altogether. And I think if you look back at that decision, obviously there was a very strategic mistake, if you will, because today we're dealing with a shortage of rare earths that we critically need, particularly for military equipment. So if you kind of walk forward now from where we are today, the US maybe produces about 1 or 2% of the actual amount of rare earths that it would need to match what China produces today, which is about 270,000 metric tons annually. And then importantly from that is actually what they call the heavy rare earths, which are needed for military equipment. That we don't have any kind of capacity in the United States to get that out of the ground. Not only that, but we don't have it in the United States.
Yeah, we don't geologically have it in the United States, was what really
Correct.
Caught my attention, that we stopped doing this because China was dumping it in our markets, and it was no longer, from a capitalist point of view, something that was worth pursuing. We don't have a national policy the way China's centrally run government does. So we got caught off guards by that. But even if we wanted to ramp things up, we don't geologically have the heavy rare earths. And those are the things that are important for defense. So what do we do about that? What are the options?
Well, maybe a few, as we don't have it here, then we have to go elsewhere. So Greenland has been a focus because that holds about 38.5 million of unexplored heavy rare earth deposits. And, the White House has put out some ideas about this compact of free association with sort of a special status agreement that they could perhaps go to Greenland without taking its sovereignty, and then in exchange with Denmark for some infrastructure investments, start doing this rare earth mining exploration. But as you say, it takes really time to actually get that sufficiently out of the ground. The estimates are anywhere from 7 to 10 years to have a mine fully operational and to produce what we actually need. So we're going to be reliant on Chinese rare earth minerals for quite some time.
Yeah, there is a Defense Act, under the National Defense Authorization Act. The United States has to eliminate Chinese-sourced rare earths from all defense magnets by January 1st of 2027. How long does it take to find another source for that? Are we going to be able to do that?
I'm not sure we actually will, Becky. I'm afraid that this is kind of a difficult situation. You sort of analyze the data, right? It's like they want to remove it by 2027, yet it's drastically needed because the Pentagon has stockpiled some of this. But by estimates, it's running out by sometime around that time, 2027, 2028. And so you're going to have to go to Greenland and mine it there. And as I mentioned, it takes a long time. Otherwise, you're going to have to buy it in from other countries. And China is the main producer. There's not any other country out there that produces it the same magnitude as China does, readily available. And so this is, I think, an alarming situation. Obviously, it's got the attention from the administration, takes the stake into, one of the rare earth companies, but that's not sufficient. That's more for the private sector. For the military, it's a different story.
Yeah, so the investments we've seen from the U.S. government to this point are one thing. What did you think of J.P. Morgan's announcement yesterday that they'd be willing to make significant investments in this as well?
That was somewhat surprising because you would think this is really an administration initiative because it's for national security. So JP Morgan sees, I guess, a commercial opportunity here, in addition to support to the country, I presume. But it is actually a more private, initiative to gain, because you don't invest without making return on it. So for JP Morgan, this is I guess they see a capital investment opportunity here. But even though they do this, it's an interesting story. But it doesn't really take away the issue that we're discussing, that you may get these lighter earth minerals out of the ground and help the EV sector or the auto sector, or maybe some other industries. But I think you still deal with the shortfall for the military, and I think this is the real bottleneck. Unless we find other sort of types of technology to get it faster out of the ground, which is again very daunting. It seems to be really challenging compared to, let's say, if you mine gold today. That's a much easier way to mine, but there's a lot less available of it. So rare earth minerals, by the way, there's actually abundance in supply. There's a fair bit of out there in the globe. Vietnam and Ukraine and Argentina has also pockets there, but it takes a long time to get it out of the ground.